Okay, there you go. Alright, give me a sec. Okay, I'm back. I just had to put a few things away while everything was kind of loading up here. Loading up here. And let me do that. Oh gosh. My nose literally always itches every time I'm down here. Let me go check out Kick. Oh no. Oh jeez. Okay, there we go. Sorry about that. Everything, I was putting some stuff away on the shelf and it kind of bumped. Not like I bumped it or something and everything fell off, so I had to reorganize it. Alright, so let's see. I need something to kick really quick. I need to go to Snapchat. Alright, I guess let's get started here then. Hey, how's it going, guys? Welcome to Cryptocast, your source for all things cryptid related, unknown, and paranormal. I'm your host, Parker, and welcome back to another Cryptocast live stream. So again, I'm not in my studio. As you can see, my studio's in that room over there. But my dad is using my table that I put my computer on for his ship model. So I'm about to be in the process here really, really soon. I'd say probably within like the next week or two of trying to find a good place to move my studio to. So that's going to be kind of fun. Not really, but I'll try to make the best out of it. So yeah, that's gonna be a thing. But yeah, no, I really need to do it, and I know like right now this looks absolutely horrible where I'm at right now. We literally use the basement for storage, and it literally looks like I'm in a hoarder's house, even though I'm not. Yeah, no, I just want my studio set up again at some point, so I'm gonna try to do that here soon I'm gonna try to do that here very soon. But yeah, guys, so today we are going to be talking about, as you can tell by the title, Cryptids of France. And I was trying to do Cryptids of Germany, but I couldn't find a place that I couldn't find a good site that listed like all the German cryptids. I found one that listed all the French cryptids, but not the German ones. So if anyone knows like a good site that lists the German ones, please feel free to let me know. But I'm also going to be filming a cryptid ratings here soon today, and I still need some clips from you guys or some pictures for my new series where I'm going to be evaluating paranormal videos, cryptid videos, pictures, and all that. So feel free to send those my way. All my contact info is in the links in the description below. I recently got a new Reddit, so that you guys should totally check that out. It's not as active, but it's slowly building, so I'm hoping to get some more traffic in there soon. So feel free to check out my subreddit that I have for this specific channel. And yeah, I just can't wait to see videos and pictures from you guys, so feel free to send those. What else? Oh, giveaway. Also, be sure, if you haven't already, enter that giveaway that I posted a video on last week. You guys gotta just follow the prompts in that video, like the requirements, and then you'll be entered to win a little cryptid figure made out of polymer clay, made by me. And there's only gonna be one winner this time around. So, yeah. So be sure to do that if you have not already. I'm trying to think what else. Yeah, no, and also, guys, sorry I didn't do a live stream on Sunday. Something came up. I may or may not talk about it in another video at some point, but I don't feel like now is the best time to talk about it. But friends and another one of my friends who is on Twitter, he actually runs a podcast as well, so I'm hoping maybe to get him either this week or next week. And then my one friend who is a witch, I'm trying to get her lined up for either this week or next week as well. So either way, it'll be 2 guests in 2 weeks, which I'm looking forward to. So because I know you guys really like that when I talk to other people on here and have guests. So I feel like that's going to be fun. And my witch friend, she's willing to take questions, answer questions about what it's like to be a witch and all that. So that's really cool. My other friend from Twitter, we're still not sure what we're going to do, but it's going to be something. So he also runs his own podcast, like I said. So it should be fun. It should be fun. Hey, there you are. Hey, Ryan, how are you? You should totally check your Twitter DMs. I messaged you if you want to do a collab sometime, either this week or next week. I don't know what topic we could do, but we'll think of something. So, with that being said, guys, let's talk about the cryptids of France. So there's some really cool cryptids in France. There's like a dragon, like it's not your typical dragon, I'll tell you that right now. There's this little owl knight and all these other really, really cool cryptids of France. So we're gonna talk about these right now. Let's see who I want to start off with. Let me pull up a picture of one so we can get it on the screen. Meaty Pinatas, if you're watching this right now, I'm so sorry I went live while you were at work. Let's see. What do I want to pull up? Which one do I want to do first? Heck yeah, actually, that sounds really good. We can do that. And if you have like any personal encounters or anything too you want to share during the stream, by all means, feel free. Let's start off with, let's just start off. We're going to go kind of in alphabetical order here. Hey, Reaper, how are you? I'd like to get you back on the show at some point too, so after I get these two on the show, I'd be happy to have you. We could do like another SCP exploration or something else as well. But yeah, I would love to have you back on the show as well, Garrett. Oh, heck yeah. I'm excited to hear that, Ryan. Okay. Now, again, I could not find the original artist for this, so if you guys happen to know, just let me know, because I have no idea who made this. It's really nice, but this right here is an avian, which is a type of alien. Where is it? Okay. Avian humanoids are a common motif in mythology, folklore, and popular fiction. The term avians usually refers to an alleged alien species. In 1962, on a desolate stretch of French road, a businessman claimed to have encountered a gang of aggressive bird-like beings which not only blocked his car but allegedly attacked him. The first account of this utterly unique close encounter is published in 1968 in the value number 14, number 6, December issue of the Flying Saucer Review. The report came from a man who was at the time described as a young researcher from the southern part of France named Lionel Trigano. According to Trigano, the witness who would be referred to only as Mr. S was a solidly built man in his 50s who ran an important garage in Hérault, France. Trigano interviewed the perturbed eyewitness who, under strict conditions of anonymity, confided his perplexing tale to the young UFOologist. Here is the witness's own account of the event, which was translated by John C. Hugel and published in the FSR under the title Strange Encounter in Var. And like all good tales of terror, this one begins on a dark and stormy night. One evening in November of 1962, I was driving along a minor departmental road in Var. It was a dark night and raining in torrents, so that I was driving with my lights full on. The trip had been thus far uneventful, but it would soon take a literal turn for the twilight zone. According to the observer, rounding the bend, I saw 80 meters, just over 260 feet ahead, a group of figures clustered in the middle of the road. I slowed down to avoid the group, and at the same moment, it split into two parts suddenly and jerkily. It was then that Mr. S noticed that there was something decidedly unnatural about the mob of jaywalkers blocking his passage. My window was down, and I leaned my head out slightly to see what the matter was. It was then I saw beasts of some kind of bizarre animals, with the heads of birds and covered with some sort of plumage, which were hurling themselves from two sides toward my car. The petrifying confrontation with unknown and decidedly violent creatures would be more than enough to disturb anyone, but just when things seemed to have reached maximum levels of high strangeness, they took a turn for the bizarre. Terrified, I wound up my window and accelerated like a madman and stopped 150 meters, approximately 500 feet further on. I turned and saw these things, these beasts, these nightmarish sorts of beings, which were heading with a sort of flapping wings toward a luminous dark blue object which hung in the air over a field on the other side of the road. Mr. S then described ostensibly extraterrestrial vehicle in more detail. It resembled two plates upside down and placed on one another, as if a flock of attacking birdmen and a hovering UFO would not strain the sanity of even the hardest individual. Mr. S put the proverbial cherry on the sundae with his final observations. On reaching the UFO, these birds were literally sucked into the underpart of the machines as if by a whirlwind. Then I heard a dull sound, a clack, and the object flew off at a prodigious speed and finally disappeared. But yeah, no, this guy literally in the 60s saw these things. They were like attacking, they were like following his car and shit, and then they all got sucked up into the UFO and flew away. According to Trigano, Mr. S had no interest in the UFO phenomenon or in making his story public, simply for fear of being thought mad. Even if the witnesses had no interest in pursuing the origins of these creatures, the rest of us are left with the conundrum of just what the heck did this middle-aged garage manager see on that rain-drenched eve back in 1962. The editor who commented on the FSR story sagely, especially considering this was back in 1968 when it was a daunting task to correlate such disparate accounts, felt that this story was important, especially in the light of the Mothman report filed by John Keel in the magazine's July and August of 1968 edition. And now we're going to talk about some explanations of what these creatures could be, and it actually kind of correlates with a familiar term that you guys may have heard if you watched that History Channel show, Ancient Aliens. In 1849, Sir Austin Henry Layard, English archaeologist and global explorer, found himself among the ruins of ancient Babylon in southern Mesopotamia. It was there he discovered the first pieces of what would eventually become one of archaeology's most controversial puzzles, cuneiform tablets, but the idea that this ancient civilization knew of distant star systems and had interacted with extraterrestrial life started with a controversial researcher and author named Zacharias Sitchin. His ancient alien theory attributes the beginnings of a Mesopotamian society to a race of bird-like beings known as the Anunnaki, who traveled from a distant 12th planet called Nibiru. And you can read about this on ancientexplorers.com. Sitchin argues that there are Sumerian texts which tell of the story of that 50 Anunnaki, inhabitants of a planet named Nibiru, came to Earth approximately 400,000 years ago with the intent of mining raw materials, especially gold, for transport back to Nibiru. With their small numbers, they soon grew tired of the task and set out to genetically engineer laborers to work the mines. After much trial and error, they eventually created Homo sapiens, the Adapa, model man, or Adam of later mythology. Sitchin contended that the Anunnaki were active in human affairs until their culture was destroyed by global catastrophes caused by the abrupt end of the last ice age some 12,000 years ago. Seeing that humans survived and all they had built was destroyed, the Anunnaki left Earth after giving humans the opportunity and means to govern themselves. Sitchin's work has not received mainstream scholarly support and has been roundly criticized by professionals that have reviewed his hypothesis. So these avian aliens that were found in France, they are believed to actually be the Anunnaki from ancient Mesopotamia lore that come from the fabled planet of Nibiru that may or may not exist. That is up for interpretation. So fun stuff. Now we're going to talk about the Barbagazi. if I can get this picture pulled up. Perfect. There we go. There it is. Alright, so this right here is the Barbagazi. Barbagazi are mythical creatures from Swiss and French mythology. A type of gnome from Swiss folklore, they reside in the mountainous regions between France and Switzerland, the Alps. The name probably is a corruption of Barbas glacis, meaning frozen beards. Preferring the tops of the mountains, the Barbagazi resemble the typical gnome, except for their large feet and the fact that their hair and beards resembled thick growths of icicles. They thrived only in the coldest of weather provided by these mountaintops, hibernating in summer and becoming active in winter, blizzard season. No sightings have been recorded when the temperature was above zero, nor have any sightings taken place below the tree line. Mountaineers were said to have captured more than one of these creatures on their adventures, but none survived more than a few hours when taken out of their climate. In such cases, the icicle growths melt, revealing normal hair underneath. Reported observations, however, have demonstrated such skills as swift digging. A Barbagazi can bury themselves in thick snow a few seconds or dig themselves out no matter the depth, a trait that has caused many to believe that they enjoy riding avalanches. Their big feet has also been seen to act as skis or snowshoes, allowing unhindered travel. Accounts have also atoned to them wearing garments of white fur like a modern jumpsuit. Their habitats are said to be networks of caves and tunnels accessible near peaks of mountains through connected entrances. The most well-known activity of the Barbagazi is the warnings they give to humans of hazards. They can make whistling noises such as marmots or eerie hooting noises, which may be mistaken for gusts of wind, to warn hikers of avalanches. They may also attempt to dig out people trapped by snowfall or herd lost sheep back to their owners. Despite these beneficial activities, their attitudes toward humans are still uncertain. A Barbagazi stands no more than 1 foot tall and weighs 5 pounds. So yeah, these little dudes like to use, like in this picture right here, they use their feet like as skis and snowshoes, and they ride down avalanches making hooting sounds, which is honestly funny as all hell. And I love these little guys so much. Now we're going to kind of move on to a more famous one. There's a lot about this one, so I'm not going to probably read all of this just for time's sake, but we're going to talk about the fabled beast of Gévaudan, which a lot of you guys have probably heard of. Where the fuck is that picture? There we go. So you guys have probably seen this before. But this right here is the Beast of Gévaudan. The Beast of Gévaudan is a creature that was held responsible for at least 60 animal attack deaths during the 1760s in France. Some reports put the death total over 100, but there has been difficulty proving more than about 60 of the cases. Several traditional depictions of the Beast of Gévaudan show the wide variety of physical characteristics that were attributed to this monster. If this were a real animal behind these sightings and reports, it was obscured by a great deal of folklore. Locals believed it was a werewolf, or more specifically a sorcerer who shapeshifted into a monstrous predator in order to feed on human flesh. It was supposed to be bulletproof as well. Until the day that a hunter named Jean Chastel tried a silver bullet, it had been speculated that it was a hyena trained by Chastel, but this does not fit logic or description. Descriptions of the beast varied so much that most researchers believe there had to at least been 2 of the creatures, if indeed the panic wasn't causing the populace to incorporate almost any large animal into these sightings. The color of the beast's fur was especially variable. Like in this picture right here, it's black. Even though, it's a black and white picture, but like in real life that would just be like a black coat. Sometimes it was red with a large gray patch or red with faint stripes along the back. Other times it had black and white patches spotted over its body with no trace of red. Rarely its Rarely it had color patterns that didn't incorporate red, black, or white. If you add up all the different descriptions and then create a composite description out of these characteristics that are mentioned with consistency and by most witnesses, then the beast looked something like this, which is what's in the picture right now. And to show you a few more, well, wait, hold on. I gotta make sure he's... like that. The beast is a quadruped about the size of a horse. It reminds witnesses of a bear, hyena, wolf, and panther all at once. So like a weird chimera kind of form of all of them put together. It has a long wolf-like or pig-like snout lined with large teeth. The ears are small and round, lying close to the head. The neck is long and strong. The tail somewhat resembles the long tail of a panther, like you can see in the picture. But it is so thick and strong that the beast uses it as a weapon, knocking men and animals down with it. Anyone struck by the tail reports that it hits with considerable force. The feet of the beast are the hardest to describe. Some say it has cloven hooves, and that each digit is tipped with a hoof. Others say that the claws are so heavy and thick and formidable that they resemble hooves, which you can kind of see in this picture. They're claws, and that, like, if you kind of squint a little bit, they look like hooves. Since there do not seem to be any more signs of the animal, like the beast in France, or historical precedent for animals like it in that area before the first sighting, is a hard creature for cryptozoologists to tackle. Most mythical animals that are taken seriously by cryptozoologists have some sort of history that indicates that there could have been a breeding population from the ancient times. Single animals are hard to handle from a cryptozoological standpoint. On the other hand, all available evidence seems to indicate that if the beast was real, there were at least two of its kind. If we wanted to, we might be able to presume that a mated pair of small pack migrated hundreds of miles to reach France from some area where such creatures did have a history, or that they were secretly or inadvertently transported by humans. Such speculations are far-fetched, but they would be necessary for most cryptozoological analyzations to succeed. The other alternative would be to presume that these creatures had been living secretly in France since ancient times without making a splash on local folklore, which doesn't make sense for a supposed undiscovered species. It would be nice to declare the beast of Gévaudan a hyena, a bear, an escaped lion, or something like that, but in order to do so, we must disregard witness testimony. Of course, in this case, witness testimony is so riddled with the supernatural that we have to disregard some of it. Anyway, but if we accept the core description of the beast as having any validity, we must acknowledge that the creature described doesn't match any known animal. Parts of it match wolves, hyenas, and panthers, with hyenas probably being the best fit. But we run into a serious problem when we try to bend witness testimony to fit a known animal. Unless we toss it out as superstition, we end up with a beast that certainly seems cryptozoological in the best sense of the word. It's a genuine puzzle. If the beast existed, it wasn't any normal species. What could it be? Most explanations put forth hybrid or deformed versions of several known species that resembled the beast of Gévaudan. The idea of wolf-dog hybrids was so popular for so long that it was almost accepted that the solution had been found. However, they would have to be pretty odd wolf-dog hybrids in order to adhere to the core description of the beast. A weird bear mutant might work if it were mutilated in just the right way, but would need a tail. Hyenas are just big enough to be the beast, so once again, we would need to propose that a mutant hybrid, as well as the problem that hyenas have been extinct in Europe for a long time, since cryptozoologists are only ultimately interested in discovering new species or subspecies. The beast was proven to be a mutant. If the beast is proven to be a mutant or hybrid of some kind, then it would cease to be of interest to cryptozoology. And hyenas, they don't have tails that are that long. Hyenas kind of have like short, stubby tails, so this long panther-like tail does not match a hyena whatsoever. If the beast of Gévaudan were a new species or subspecies, there are several possibilities. It could be a new bear, a new big cat, some sort of survival prehistoric European hyena, or something even more exotic. There is a fact, a type of animal that fits the core description of the beast exactly, but it is extinct and would hardly be expected to have survived in Europe of all places. The group of animals would be mesonichids, presumably extinct group of hoofed predators. The biggest mesonichid looked much like a hyena and was the size of a horse. Some other reports may describe mesonichids come from Armenia and Assyria about the year 800 and describe pig-like beasts that are vicious predators, but these have huge floppy ears instead of the beast's tiny round ears. Another possible mesonichid is reported from a more plausible place, the Amazon in the forests of South America. This creature is called the tapire iara. As you see, there are many explanations for the beast of Gévaudan. Scientists run from one explanation to another as fads come and go. Almost everything that is remotely conceivable has been proposed as an explanation. The page has been limited to a discussion of the more likely prospects as viewed by the science of cryptozoology, because otherwise this webpage would be the size of a small book. There are other explanations rooted more in the fields other than cryptozoology, such as the study of folklore and hoaxes. For example, the fictional movie Brotherhood of the Wolf presents an elaborate explanation for the beast that manages to neatly tie up most loose ends that frustrate scientists by proposing that it was all an elaborate hoax. One recent claim is that the stuffed body of the creature has actually been found in a museum in central France, and studies suggest it was actually a brown hyena, which is now believed to have belonged to the hunter who killed it. Now, personally, we don't know what the beast of Gévaudan really is, but honestly, personally, what I'm kind of leaning to, wait, was it actually? Yeah, it was on display like centuries back. Yeah, I do remember that. But honestly, I could honestly kind of see it being a dire wolf of some sort, even though those went extinct years ago. There have been like reports of people seeing dire wolves to this day. So it very well could be a dire wolf, but again, the dire wolf does not completely match the description of the beast of Gévaudan. Since the dire wolf is just essentially a large wolf, and this is like a weird amalgamation of like so many different animals. Like you get the bear, you get the pig, you get the hyena, you get the wolf. It's all these different animals that seem to be one. So it very, very well could be a dire wolf, but since dire wolves are, like I said, essentially giant wolves, I kind of doubt it a bit, but it could be possible. It very, very well could be possible. We just don't know because we haven't seen the Beast of Gévaudan since such early in history in France. If you guys have any suggestions about to what it might be, let me know in the live chat, and I'd like to see from you guys what you guys think, or after this video uploads in the comment section as well. Now we're going to talk about an odd one. This is called the Kamacrusa, and if you guys follow me on Tumblr, you already know. This is the Kamacrusa. And for all you people that have foot fetishes out there, if this turns you on, I'm glad I made your day. I don't know. But the Kamacrusa is a French nocturnal boogie that can be found in Gascony, notable around Aire-sur-l'Ador in the Landes. Its horrifying appearance is generally left to the imagination, but as the name implies, it is usually a disembodied leg, possibly somewhat flayed, and the Kamacrusa's name means raw leg. Despite its appearance, a Kamacrusa is very rapid in movement, capable of hiding behind hay bales, jumping over ditches and hedges, and easily running down its prey. Children who remain outside after dark, it usually hunts down children who remain jumping over ditches and hedges and easily running down its prey. Children who remain outside after dark. How it eats them is unspecified, but it sure eats them. I don't know how. Maybe it like uses its toes and like, I don't know. Like, have you ever seen Ubi? That one thing with the eyes that goes like, Ubi's a friend or something. What if it's just like that and it just like eats something, I don't know. Its role has largely been usurped by more traditional boogies such as Rampanu and Soptard. Or the latter, in particular, is closely associated with the Kama Cruza. For as the nursery rhyme goes, "La Kama Cruda y lo sopa tot ser que hen la nuit plaha de danger." And that was I was reading that, guys. My friend, I'm sorry I butchered that French so badly. The raw leg that sups every evening makes the night full of danger. So, this thing and the Supatard, they kind of hang out together and they hunt down children and eat them in some way. But it's literally just a disembodied foot that just kind of hops really fast after its enemy, or after its prey. Like I said, most notably children. It likes to eat kids. Fucking creep. Now we're going to talk about the Dahu. Dahu. Now, isn't this a cute little guy? This is the Dahu right here. The Dahu is a legendary creature well known in France, in Switzerland, and the neighboring regions. Its popularity began to soar toward the end of the 19th century and became famous during the 20th century. Today, it is regarded as a hoax, a joke, and a fictional creature to fool people. Dahu is described as a mountain goat-like animal with legs of different sides having different lengths to walk upright on the steep slopes of the mountain environment. So as you can see in the little picture that I have, the leg, well, if you look at the back legs, it's more noticeable, but one leg is longer than the other. It can only walk around the mountain in one direction. Legend attributes various differing descriptions to the animal, including Lavagoris Dahu, which has shorter legs on the left side and thus goes around the mountain counterclockwise, and the Dextrogir Dahu, which has shorter legs on the right side and goes around the mountain clockwise. It is also said that male Dahus have legs shorter on the right side, and females have shorter legs on the left side. So in this picture, we're seeing a female Dahu. Well, actually, it's on the front leg. Its right leg seems shorter. I don't know. So, thus making them walk opposite directions around the mountains, enabling to find each other and mate. Also, the male Dahu has testicles that drag down onto the ground, leaving a scent trail for members of the opposite sex to trace. That's lovely. Males also use the scent trails to find their next molestation victim. For Dahus are known for harassing each other to assert dominance. These guys are little perverts. French pranksters state that catching a Dahu involves two people, one with a bag at the bottom of the mountain slope and another who is good at making Dahu sounds. The latter stands behind a Dahu making the noise. When the Dahu turns around to see, it loses its balance and rolls down the hill to the person with the bag at the bottom. Another method is to have pepper ground into a large stone. When the Dahu, while grazing, comes up and sniffs the pepper, it would sneeze and knock itself out against the stone. They're bullying this poor little child. Look at that face. Look at him. He's precious. They're bullying him. Stop Dahu Abuse 2020. Alright guys, we're going to look at a very, very different one. And by different, I mean, what the fuck is this? This is like so odd, I don't even know what the fuck. This is Dufon! I can't find the original artist for this, but this is Dufon right here, guys. The Dufon is an avian creature found in the Hautes-Alpes region of France, where it is said to braid horses' manes, pinch young women, and cause mischief and mayhem. The town of Ceres preserves a Dufon lair in the form of a stone door and ruined ramparts known as the Tour du Dufon, or the Dufon's Hole. The first recorded sighting of the Dufon was in 1820 by French Baron Jean-Charles François de la Chauduc in his work History, Antiquities, Usage, Dialects des Hautes Alpes. It is believed that Dufons were inspired by local populations of eagle owls. In the Eurasian area, it is one of the largest species of owls, and it is likely that its grand size led to French locals creating a supernatural mythos around its presence. So, this guy, he just carries around a sword and pinches women's butts and braids horses' manes. Oh jeez, it scared me. I legit do not know about this one, guys. This one's just odd. And we are at our halfway point. Alright guys, this next picture, by the way, is Nightmare Fuel. Just giving you a heads up. There he is. We're going to talk about the European wild man. Oh, shit. That got big. That's a jump scare, guys. Shit. I didn't realize the picture would be that big. Let's keep shrinking it. There we go. This is the European wild man. I'm sorry for that jump scare, but holy fuck. So, the description of the Western European wild men varies dramatically, similar to the North American Sasquatch, though it is normally described as being upright, hairy, humanoid, and abnormally tall, ranging from 7 to 9 feet tall, or 2 to 2.8 meters. European sightings frequently describe smaller creatures, though some sightings describe the creatures only as 4 to 6 feet in height, or 1.2 to 1.8 meters. Historical depictions of wild men also vary. But in Western Europe, they tend to be depicted as large, hairy men, sometimes women, with the females normally appearing young or middle-aged to elderly in with the males. They are sometimes depicted with minimal clothing, although often have none at all. Also common is a large club or staff comparable to modern reports of Bigfoot-like creatures in Europe, or carrying large sticks or logs, often said to hit them against trees. So kind of in a way, it's like a caveman. The only documented sighting of a wild man in Finland occurred on December 21st, 2017. Ravutara resident Isaki Maito fired up his sauna before briefly leaving to get something to eat. The weather was below freezing and there was a layer of snow on the ground. He checked through the window to see if smoke was coming through the sauna's chimney when he noticed 2 large humanoids walking in a hunched posture. After I lost sight of the figures in the woods, I checked the sauna and it had warmed up and it had warmed already pretty well, only that the door was left open, leaking warmth out. I produced an electric touch from the anteroom of the sauna, and with its light, I saw that unexpected visitors had left brownish coarse hair around, he claimed. Yeah, so this dude just was getting a sauna and looked out the window and saw 2 of these little wild men just sitting in there, just chilling. That's really cool. But yeah, sorry for that jump scare, but yeah, no. That's only the face a mother could love. But actually, I'm not its mother, but I love that. That's going to be a meme. Make this a meme, guys. Make this picture a meme. Alright. The gargoyle, or gargoyle? I don't know how you pronounce this one, honestly. Oh, hey, that looks kind of cool. On camera, actually. I was expecting to have a background, but it doesn't. I have no idea who the artist is again, but if you guys know, let me know. The gargoyle, as gargoyle from a word for throat, is a dragon from the legend of Saint Romanus of Rouen. The monster does not figure in the older accounts of the saint's life, being recorded for the first time in 1394. On the left bank of the Seine at Rouen, where wild swamps through which rampaged a huge serpent or dragon who devoured and destroyed people and beasts of the field. Romanus decided to hunt in this area, but could only find one man to help him, a man condemned to death who had nothing to lose. They arrived in the serpent's land, and Romanus drew a sign of the cross on the beast. It then lay down at his feet and let Romanus put his stole on him as a leash, in which manner he led it into town to be condemned to death and burned on the parvis of the cathedral, or thrown into the Seine according to other authors. This legend was the origin for the bishop's privilege, lasting until 1790, to pardon one prisoner condemned to death each year by giving the pardoned man or woman their reliquary, holding Romanus's relics in a procession. Ew, I got a really creepy ad. Okay. But yeah, no. So this dragon was eventually put to death for its war crimes, essentially, by a saint. And now French pardons one condemned individual once a year by carrying the saint's relics through town. So, I don't know, it's kind of cool, but I do really like this creature. It's nice. Not what it did, but I mean, it looks cool. Here comes a very popular one that is many people's favorites. If I can get the picture. Is that it? No. There he is. Here's the Lucarcal. Oh, that's tiny. I'm going to make that a little bigger. There we go. Remember how I said there was a dragon that was really unusual? It wasn't the gargoyle, it was this. The Lucarcal is a mythical beast from French folklore. It was described as being both a serpent and a mollusk at the same time, taking characteristics from both. Its massive and long body carried an enormous shell upon its back, much like a snail shell that was believed to live underground. That was believed to live in underground caverns in southwest France. Its gaping mouth was surrounded by several long, hairy, and slime-covered tentacles that could extend for miles. These appendages stretched out from the cave it inhabited for a long distance and laid upon the ground among its own viscous slime. They would ensnare and drag back to its... What the heck? This is weird, so wordly. They would snare and drag back anybody or anything within reach. It would then swallow the victim's whole with its gigantic mouth. The Carcal is a nickname given to the city of Hastinguis in the French department of Landes due to its situation on a rounded-shaped hill. There's also a phrase in Hastinguis, the Carcal will catch you, meaning the men will catch the women. That doesn't sound very safe. But yeah, that's the Lucarcal. He is a lot of people's favorites, and if you guys play Pokemon, in Generation 6, Pokemon X and Y, right? This inspired the Pokemon known as Gumi, Sliggoo, and Goodra. They're all snail-like dragon Pokemon, so this creature actually inspired them, and that region is actually based off of France. So they did a really good job of giving this cryptid representation in that video game. So props to you, Nintendo. Alright, we're going to talk about the Paluda. Now, this one's actually really cool. There's a big story behind it, and let me find his picture. There we go. La Paluda, Shaggy Beast, is a supposed dragon that terrorized La Ferte Bernard in medieval times. And yeah, it's naming Shaggy Beast, even though it really doesn't look shaggy. It lived near the Hussein, a river in France whose source is near the town of Hervencheres. The cryptid was described to have an ox-sized porcupine-like body, or possessing a mess of green hair-like projections. Oh, excuse me. On its body, that are actually stinger-tipped tentacles. So this thing is massive, like ox-sized. Keep this in mind. Its name is derived from its shaggy appearance. It is also said to be green in coloration, has poisonous stingers that could shoot from its body, a snake's head, neck, and tail, and large tortoise-like feet. La Peluda was known to do the following: wither crops with its searing breath, it can breathe fire. Fire its quills, if they were arrows. Create floods by stepping into rivers. Kill a full-grown man with a swing of its tail. Spit a powerful stream of water or acid. And the thing about the Peluda, the story was that this creature was denied entry onto Noah's Ark, and it hid in a cave and throughout the flood, and it ended up surviving the flood, and it was eventually slain by someone in later times. So yes, this creature was actually denied access onto Noah's Ark in the Bible story. Do you guys like fish? Oh god. Do you guys like, I just read a little bit about this one. This is not going to be a fun one. But do you guys like fish? Do you like cows? Do you like the sea? Do you like sea cows? Who doesn't love a sea cow? There he is. The Kinotar. Look at that friend. Well, actually, I wouldn't consider him a friend after, just, you gotta hear this, guys. The Kinotar is a mythical sea creature mentioned in the 7th century Frankish chronicle of Fredegar, referred to as Bista Neptuni Kinotare Smiles, the beast of Neptune, which resembles a Kinotar. It was held to have fathered Merverus by attacking the wife of a Frankish king, Claudio, and thus to have sired the line of Merovingian kings. The name translates from Latin as bull with 5 horns. As you can tell, it has 5 horns that resemble like a trident on its head, like the one that King Neptune carries. Whose attributes have commonly been interpreted as the incorporated symbols of the sea god Neptune with his trident and the horns of a mythical bull or minotaur. It is not known whether the legend merged both elements by itself, or whether this merger should be attributed with the Christian author. The clerical Latiny of the name does not indicate whether it is a translation of some genuine Frankish creature or a coining. The suggested, this is where I said you might not like this creature. The suggested, I'll just say sexual assault for people who don't like that hard R word. The suggested sexual assault and subsequent family relation of this monster attributed to Frankish mythology corresponds to both Indo-European etymology of Neptune. Oh, that said Nepots. I thought it said Neopets, and I got like really excited. I was like, let me tell you something about Neopets. But yeah, no, the grandson of his nephew into a bull-related fertility myths in Greek mythology, where, for example, the Phoenician princess Europa was abducted by the god Zeus in the form of a white bull that swam her to Crete, or to the very myth of the Minotaur, which was the product of Pasiphae, a Cretan queen's intercourse with a white bull, initially allotted to King Minos, Pasiphae's husband, as a sacrifice for Poseidon. So, yeah, the Minotaur, the story about the Minotaur, they didn't want to sacrifice the white bull to Poseidon, so Poseidon was like, hey guys, fuck you, and made the wife fall madly in love with the white bull, thus having sex with it, and she gave birth to the Minotaur. So there's a little Greek history lesson for you guys. But that was the Kinotar. Very, very, very weird guy. Very bad man. And now we're going to talk about the last one on the list, the the Tarsk, or Tarskwi. I don't know how you pronounce it, but it's something, all right. All right, if you guys thought the Wild Man was Nightmare Fuel, then there's this. Look at that, dear God. Shit. All right. The Tarsk is a legendary creature from Provence, France. On November 25th, 2005, the UNESCO included the Tarsk on the list of masterpieces of the oral intangible heritage of humanity. Before understanding the history of the town of Tarskan, it's important to get a mental picture of the beast itself. Well, you don't have to get a mental picture, it's right here. A Tarsk is a dragon with 6 stubby bare legs, the body of an ox, and the grumpy face of a powerful lion with its short, fat body. It would almost be cute. It also had a thorny turtle shell and huge scaly tail that ended in a scorpion stinger. So in a way, it's kind of like a manticore. Like they see, they have like the ogre face, they have like the scorpion tail, they walk in the desert, they sting people. According to the Golden Legend, there was at that time on the banks of the Rhone in a marsh between Arles and Avignon, a dragon, half animal, half fish, thicker than an ox, longer than a horse, with teeth like swords and big as horns. He hid in the river where he took the life of all passers-by in submerged vessels. The Tarsk was said to have come from Galatia, which was the home of the legendary Onachus, a scaly bison-like beast which burned everything it touched. The Tarsk was believed to be the offspring of the Onachus and the biblical Leviathan. Now, if you guys want to know about the Leviathan, I talked about the Leviathan in my Creatures of the Bible video that I did. You guys can definitely take a look at that. I did that with a guest a while back, so feel free to take a look at that. It was a fun video. We talked about the Leviathan, and like the Leviathan, it was like created by God. Only God can kill a Leviathan. At the end, like all people who go to heaven will feast off of the flesh of the Leviathan. So there is that. The king of Nurluk had attacked the Tarsk with knights and catapults, but the creature was almost impossible to kill. But Saint Martha, one of the biblical figures that witnessed Jesus' resurrection, found the beast and charmed it with hymns and prayers and led back the tame Tarsk to the city. The people, terrified by the monster, attacked it when it drew nigh. The monster offered no resistance and died there. Martha then preached to the people and converted many of them to Christianity. Sorry for what they had done to the tame monster, the newly Christianized townspeople changed the town's name to Tarskan. Today, a sculpture of the Tarsk sits placidly in the town near King Reen's castle. Every year, the villagers of the town celebrate a festival in honor of the Tarsk. Originating in 1469, the festival was created by René Anjou. They took place on the second Sunday after Pentecost and were meant to exorcise the evil that caused the untimely excess of the river. The Tarsk was blamed, among other things, of breaking I can't even talk today. Tarsk was blamed, among other things, of breaking dams that prevented the flooding and the flooding of the Karmagu. In the festival, a huge effigy of the Tarsk is carried throughout the streets to traditional cries of Lagandol, Lagadigado, La Tosco, Lagadao, Lagadigado, La Costu. While the festivals previously varied according to river conditions happening in 1846, 1861, 1891, and 1946. They have since become a yearly event and tourist attraction, usually on July 29th, the day of St. Martha. A legendary marine creature reported to live in Vietnam's Ha Long Bay was also called Tarsk by the French who ruled the area at the time. The French military named and towed 20 mm anti-aircraft gun 53T2 after the Tarsk. The Tarsk is one of the statues of the Corpus Christi procession of many Spanish cities. Tarascosaurus is a dinosaur named after the Tarsk. The tabletop RPG Dungeons & Dragons has a boss monster known as the Tarsk. And there's even a little monster in my pocket figure that was also based off the Tarsk. And what you see right here, that's the effigy that's carried throughout the town of France. And in this picture right here, oh, there we go. that is the statue outside of the castle. The King Rene's castle. But yeah, that was today's episode on French cryptids. So if you guys like this video, be sure to give this video a like. You can dislike it if you dislike it. I heard if you dislike it, the Kamacrusa, the little foot dude, he's going to hop into your house at night. He's going to put his toes in your face and just tickle his toes right on your face. If you don't want that to happen, the only way to ward off the Kamacrusa is to give this video a like. But anyway, guys, I thank you so much for coming out. Be sure to enter that giveaway if you have not. It's going on till February 7th, so you guys still have time to enter to win. Just follow the requirements in that video, and you'll be all good to enter. So please be sure to do so. Yeah, I'm going to try to line up a couple guests for the next 3 weeks, and we'll see what goes on there. Then after that, I'm probably going to finish the St. Charles Ghost book, and then I would like to move on to another book, which is about Nostradamus and his predictions, which I have recently purchased, and I'm very much looking forward to sharing that with you guys. And it's an old book. It's like from the 80s, so this is before like his 9/11 prediction and all that. So I'm really looking forward to sharing that with you guys. So photos, paranormal videos that you would like me to analyze for my new series that I'll be starting up very soon. You guys can reach me by email, by Twitter, by all that other social media. Just send me your videos, pictures, media, and I will review it in an upcoming video. So, oh yeah, and also be sure to check out my Reddit, guys. That's new, and I'm trying to get some more traffic on there. So if you guys like horror stuff, just share my Reddit around with people that you may know, because I really kind of want to get my Reddit community growing a bit as well. So if you guys would be so kind enough to help spread that, I would be like so grateful. So thank you guys so much. And with that being said, thank you guys so much for coming out to Cryptocast today. We will be Cryptid Rings. I'll be uploading sometime this week, preferably tomorrow. And with that being said, guys, thank you so much. I hope you have a great week. You've been watching Cryptocast. I've been your host, Parker. Stay spooky, guys, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye, guys.